In this video, we're going to talk about the questions that you absolutely must ask yourself during these crazy times that we find ourselves living in right now. So stick with me and stay tuned. Welcome to another opportunity for me to plant seeds, shake you up, invite you to look at things you don't normally look at, and support you in discovering and experiencing the truth that really can set you free. Hi, I'm Robert Scheinfeld, New York Times bestselling author and creator of the Ultimate Freedom Experience. And we're here in this video talking about the questions that you absolutely must ask yourself during these crazy times that we're living in. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, at the moment of recording here, the global COVID-19 pandemic is still in full swing. And there's craziness all over the world, with politics and governments and relationships between countries and all the ways that people are being affected by COVID-19. At the time of this recording, I'm 63 years old, and I've been saying to people for the last 4 or 5 months that in all my 63 years, this is the craziest year that I've ever been through. I don't know if the same thing is true for you or not. And as I'm looking at all of this, the thought that has occurred to me, which is why I'm creating this video, is there's an opportunity during crazy times like this to not just suffer, to not just struggle, to not just experience pain, to not just be confused or what else might be happening with you, but to use it as raw material to create what I call true with a capital T, transformation with a capital T. And where that can start for you is by asking certain questions that to me present themselves and become obvious that these are questions that you must take a look at and that you must answer if you want to get some benefit, so to speak, and get some transformation, so to speak, out of these crazy times. The first question that you must ask yourself and come up with an answer to is everything that happens in the world and to me in my own personal life random, accidental, the result of chaos, or is everything that's happening in the world, including COVID-19 and all the other craziness, the result of some form of an intelligent plan that has a purpose and a reason and that is designed long-term, who knows how long that means, to provide benefits and gifts and blessings? You have to make a decision when you're looking at something like this. If you want to, what I call, go to the deepest level of truth with a capital T about this whole human experience that we're here having. Now, the interesting thing is, logical arguments can be made to support both points of view, that everything is random and accidental and it's just total chaos, and where it goes, it goes. You can create a logical argument and you can support it with evidence and a lot of whatever, including science, to support that. There's also the opportunity to support the other side, that it's all the result of an intelligent plan that has a purpose, a long-term goal, and ultimately blessings, gifts, and benefits from it. But you have to make a decision, because what I got to tell you is, if you decide for yourself, by looking at this from your own experience and other things that are available to you, if you decide that everything is random and accidental and chaos, then guess what? No matter what you do, how hard you try, what technique you use, what kind of a repetitive practice you may use in your life, there is always, always, always going to be struggle, suffering, and pain in your life. Because if everything is chaos, everything is random, everything is accidental, I'm going to use simple language, then the world's a dangerous place. And a lot of bad things can happen to you as a result of the randomness, the accidentalness, and the chaos. And there's no way to ever escape that. And the way your mind works, or what I call the mind machine, if that's at the core, there's no purpose, there's no plan, it's all accidental, random, and chaos, then the way that you process and look at the world and the things that happen to you in your life are going to yield results that lead to struggle, suffering, and pain in one way, shape, or form. If you entertain at least the possibility, and you can go very deep into this, and it can be more than just thinking, it can be more than just an intellectual, logical decision, which is part of what I help people to do with the teachings that I share, most notably the Ultimate Freedom Experience, then there's at least a possibility. This is what I will invite you to consider, that struggle, suffering, and pain can vanish. Now, there's a lot more to how struggle, suffering, and pain can vanish than just making a decision about your answer to this question. But if you at least entertain the possibility and you start looking for evidence, for proof, for whatever, if you entertain at least the possibility that there is a plan, that there's a reason for this, all of the craziness that's happening now, all the craziness that has always happened in the world, in your life, in the lives of people you know, if you at least entertain the possibility that there's a purpose, it's part of an intelligent plan, long-term plan, way beyond something that we can identify or understand with our minds, then it opens the door to a radically different way of experiencing what's happening in the world and in your life. So that's the first question that you absolutely must ask yourself, and you must come up with an answer. Not instantly, not immediately, because it may require you taking a look, which again is what I help people to do, at both sides of the equation and making a decision, which way are you going to go? And if you happen to go, everything's random, everything's is accidental, everything is chaos, that's fine. And the reality is struggle, suffering, and pain will never go away. But if you move in the other direction, a new door opens, a new possibility opens. And if you travel down that path, that radically different path into that aspect of what I call the truth with a capital T, then there are new possibilities for you and new things that can happen. The next question that you must ask yourself, if you're going to continue with me down this road and accepting what I said before, is if you are willing to entertain the possibility that there is an intelligent plan and that there's a reason for all the craziness, then the next question becomes, who wrote the plan? And who has the power, the ability, whatever you want to call it, to be able to execute that plan? What force wrote the plan? And what force has the ability to affect things all over the world for everybody with something like what's happening now, especially COVID-19, because this is an example of one of the few things in my life that I've seen in my 63 years that seems to be affecting virtually everybody all over the world somehow. And there may be a few exceptions, but I've never seen anything in my entire 63 years that's this global. So you got to look at this and say, okay, a lot of creative power has to be at work if something can be created like this that ends up affecting the whole world. And then you look at how is everybody being affected. There's a million different ways that people are being affected through COVID-19. If you look at different countries, I'm from the United States, as you probably know, and there's 50 states, and how people are being affected by this is very, very different in the different states and different cities and different parts of the United States. It's very complicated. And there has to be a creative force that has the ability to shape itself into, is my language, all of these different kinds of things. And so the next question is, what's this force? Again, who wrote the plan? How does a plan like this get executed in a way that it affects everybody? So that's the second question that you must ask. And these are the kinds of questions, again, that I help people to answer in very simple, logical, practical ways. Most of which, but not all, you can actually verify for yourself from your own direct personal experience. It's not just something that you have to accept on faith or as an idea or a concept. And the final question that you need to ask yourself, which I've done other videos on and I will do additional videos in the future on, is how does this affect my belief about how things happen in my life and the power that I have to be able to create my own reality? Because odds are, before you found your way to this video, you have studied something, you have learned something, and you probably have embraced and used techniques trying to work with this, that you create your own reality. You have a tremendous amount of power. You, what I call the human, the character, the hero of your story, is my language for this. That you have a tremendous amount of power and you can create absolutely anything in your life with this power of yours if you just use this technique or that technique. There's different techniques, different methods, different practices, but this is one of the battle cries in self-help teachings, success teachings, personal development, spiritual development teachings. That's the battle cry, right? I'm sure you've seen this somewhere. And you have to ask yourself when something like this happens, is that true? And if it is true, then how could something like this COVID-19 and these other kinds of things happen that you never thought about? You did not create or manifest or attract. It was nowhere on your radar at all that something like this would happen. And if it's affecting you, particularly if it's affecting you in a big way, you have to take a look at this and the truthfulness of that battle cry, of that teaching, of that idea that's just rampant out there, that you create your own reality and you can manifest, you can attract, you can create anything you want if you just, fill in the blank with whatever the particular technique is. So in this short video, as I mentioned at the beginning, my intention is to plant seeds, shake you up, invite you to consider things that you don't normally consider, and an opportunity for me to offer you support to go down a different path, to discover what I call the truth with a capital T, that really can set you free. So, as I close this video, there are a few final things that I want to share with you and a few to ask of you. First of all, if you already have a decision, accidental, random, chaos, or there's an intelligent plan that's at work, whether we understand it or not, let me know in the comments what your choice is, number one. And if you don't know, or some of the things that I've said to you here maybe shook you up a little bit and you're going to think about it, do some investigation, whatever, let me know again in the comments. I'm not sure. I really haven't thought about this. I need to take a look at it, whatever. But let me know in the comments. And if you want to know more about how I can help you to answer these kinds of questions and a lot of other questions that flow out of this, I only mentioned 3, look below this video and you'll see a link to a free training that I have that can help you go more deeply into these things. If you like what you've heard here or other things that you've heard from me and you'd like to hear more, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Okay, bye-bye for now. I'll look forward to our next form of contact, whatever shape that takes. Bye-bye for now.